SpaceWatchers. This is Space Cafe Radio, your channel about trends, cool people and real conferences. I'm Thorsten, publisher of SpaceWatch.Global. In this review, I'm talking with Jenni Tapio in Helsinki. Jenni is the chief specialist for space, the team leader in the Finnish government, and speaks to me in her personal capacity. Wonderful to have you in the room and wonderful to have you back from your holidays. Looking back to the last 12 months, what have been your personal space highlights? Let us know.
Thank you, Thorsten, and Happy New Year to you. It's very much appreciated that you asked me to come here to talk to you. Looking back in 2021, it feels like a very long time already, and especially after the 2 years of remote working and virtual meetings, sitting at home. I was last year extremely happy that we found again ways of meeting people. I find personally that this is something that I miss dearly during those times, but I think it's exactly something that we all needed. We are not so much used to only sitting at our homes. Even, of course, we are always appreciative that we have the virtual means of connecting like we are connecting today. We've had the possibility of continuing the discussions also in space-related matters and continuing international cooperation, having all those exciting projects. But I guess I missed the coffee corner discussions and happy to have that coffee here with you. But just to answer to your question finally, I think my highlight from last year was the legal subcommittee of COPWATCH, which I was able to go in person in Vienna, and it was the first travel in 2 years. But the meeting was in many ways memorable. During this occasion of the legal subcommittee, we were able to find consensus among the 95 member states on setting up the working group on space resources. That allows us to continue this year on this very important topic and deliberate actually on the substance of exploration, exploitation and utilization of space resources, which is of course something very topical and very much connected to all those actual space projects that are already carried out and planned for next year.
That's the working group that Stephen Freeland and André Mistal are leading, isn't that?
Yes, exactly. And that's the working group that under their guidance we are able to really start the work in May this year.
That's wonderful. From this entire space sector, what are your top events, top highlights that you would point to in this global sector?
That's really a tough question. I don't know if it's because of the fact that I've been on holidays, that it feels like that it's been such a long time, or is it for the reason that so many things actually happened last year?
We had last year the year with the most rocket launches ever. We had space tourism kicking in. We went to Mars with, I think, 3 missions alone. Pick one of those. If you like. That's
correct. And I feel that there was just perhaps so many things happening. But what was something that I find in common about all these great projects is that they really were able to highlight the societal and economic benefits that space can actually bring to us. Not only to us as people, other societies, but also to business. So we have seen a lot of new entrants in the market with different data applications. And this is really like the key for providing information and data that can help us with different humanitarian crises as we've had with COVID, but also with different natural crises that we've unfortunately seen in 2021. So space has been really acting as an enabler for providing us better results, being a bit better in handling these global crises that we've had, and also perhaps being then the source of inspiration and innovation because of these great projects, which of course the last that I remember is James Webb just being launched and deployed.
That's right. And I think with all the rights, Finland can be very proud also in contributing to the sector you just mentioned, even with the private industry, into ESAR and into data for greater good. So I think Finland is very well positioned.
Yes, and we've been very active actually in 2021. Our operators making such innovations, being very active in the field. And just as well, you mentioned those multiple launches happening last year. We don't have launch capability in Finland, but we registered last year 8 new satellites in the registry of Finnish space objects. So we are in total now 17 in the registry, which is of course quite a lot in the past few years that there's been activity in this regard.
So I think we should create a new measurement. It's satellites per capita or so.
That's true, yes.
You alluded in your specific area and the government work and the work of the legal subcommittee or legal work. Is there a specific thing besides the creation of the working group on space resources, something that touched you most?
Yes, aside the space resources, I've been very happy to see as well that we've been able to further the important issue on space sustainability in many different ways. Here, of course, in the context of COP there's the adoption of the Space 2030 agenda and its implementation plan during the main committee meeting last year. And then there is also the good start of the work of the working group on long-term sustainability on outer space activities. At the same time, we've had a firm commitment by states and international organizations as well, private entities, in actually implementing those 21 guidelines that were adopted in 2019 by COP and really implementing and as well developing technologies that actually allow us to protect the space environment and maintain the orbit usable for us and for the future generations. So it's really not only the paper taste and administrative talk, but it's actually something that's breathing life into those documents that have been adopted within the committees. And here I can really only hope that Europe can take a leading role in taking and in giving the example of implementing the guidelines and showing responsibility in space activities. And I feel that this has been the development in 2021.
I absolutely agree with you. For me personally, one highlight was to see in Cornwall that the G7 really stated the fragility of space and calling for space sustainability and put it on the government level. I think it's very important, and then to lead on that, to show that we are going into the right direction.
And it's crucial that we talk about it in different forums and by different actors. So it's not only for governments, for example, only to exchange, but really for everyone.
Let me ask the lawyer, the private lawyer in you. So is there anything from the review last year where you see space industry does need most? Or is it regulation? Is it clear framework from a law point of view? Or you say, we are fine with what we have?
Well, if we start from what is it that they need? And I guess what was just mentioned about space sustainability is something where we can really find that the interests converge. To have the Earth orbits usable, that's something that's in the interest of the commercial industry, but as well in the interest of the wider society, in the interest of the government, because also if the orbits are not usable, they cannot be used for commercial purposes. So I think that it's really that work that we are doing at various forums to actually promote sustainable and safe use of outer space that will be in the interest and is in the interest of the commercial industry. And then, of course, as mentioned, I'm very happy to see that there is such a spur of innovation in the technologies relating to sustainable uses of outer space. So it's really, again, something that is very much alive and that's very much needed and understood by all the actors, that this is the direction we should take.
What do we have to watch out this year in the space sector at large, from your point of view?
That's a very large question.
I know. It sounds so small.
I think, and I hope the year 2022 is going to be very exciting, and it's at least certainly very busy in many fronts. There's, first of all, many exciting space projects going to be launched and further developed, but also there's a lot of work in the international cooperation scene. Even with the risk of repeating myself too much, just to mention the work of the Space Resources Working Group. And you've earlier asked about the importance of it. And of course, I can understand that sometimes it can sound like, okay, so you got a working group established, great. But what is it that you are going to actually to be doing with that? But that gives you the arena and the possibility of opening up a discussion about a topic that can be seen quite political or quite like a topic that has diverging views by different actors. So this really allows you to concentrate on a specific topic and really start to talk about the able guidance exactly with Andres and Stephen about how we should find the convergences, how we could see that we actually start to develop common understanding about the topic that is so relevant for all those projects. But of course, then at national level, we are expecting an increased interest in space in many different ways, but also having interesting projects being launched by our operators and really finding that there are multiple ways of forwarding the idea of sustainable and safe activities, not only at international level, but also at national level. So very much looking forward to year 2022.
Thank you very much for your time, Jenni.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening today. If you want to stay on the pulse of space, visit our website, our mothership, at SpaceWatch SpaceWatch.Global and subscribe to our newsletters. But of course, don't forget to become a Space Watcher. I'm Thorsten Kriening, CEO and publisher of SpaceWatch.Global, your independent perspective of space.